The fire is dying. Beyond its light, something heavy moves through the grass. Yet the worst mistake tonight would be letting everyone sleep. Because for most of human history, darkness did not mean bedtime. It meant cold, predators, insects, injury, and hours without reliable shelter. Imagine waking 100,000 years ago. There are no walls, no locked doors, and no switch capable of turning night away. Your protection is a fading fire, several stone points, and the people breathing beside you. One of them suddenly raises her head. She heard something. Nobody speaks. A branch snaps beyond the glow, exactly where human eyes become almost useless in the dark. So who keeps watch until sunrise? The surprising answer may be that nobody was assigned, because the group itself became the alarm. Across 20 monitored nights, one modern hunter-gatherer community spent only 18 minutes with every studied adult asleep at the same time. That finding cannot recreate prehistory, but combined with archaeology, it reveals a night far busier, stranger, and more organized than imagined. To understand it, we must first answer an older question. When did humans begin carrying a small piece of daylight into darkness? The answer begins deep inside an African cave, where ash survived for almost 2 million years after its final orange glow vanished. At Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, researchers found microscopic burned bone and wood ash among stone tools deep inside the cave's deposits. Secure evidence published in 2012 placed fire use there around 1 million years ago, far earlier than many previous estimates had allowed. Newer analysis suggests repeated burning may stretch back roughly 1.8 million years, although that does not prove humans could ignite flames. They may have captured natural fire from lightning or wildfires, then fed it carefully, transporting embers before the precious flame disappeared. This distinction matters. Making fire is technology. Keeping fire alive is responsibility, planning, fuel collection, and cooperation continuing through the night. By roughly 400,000 years ago, habitual fire use becomes clearer, and some camps reveal something more sophisticated than occasional warmth. At Israel's Kizim Cave, a large central hearth was used repeatedly around 300,000 years ago, accumulating thick layers of ash. Burned bone and patterned toolmaking surrounded it, suggesting the hearth organized cooking, work, movement, and perhaps where different people gathered together. Fire did not erase danger. It created a small defensible island and a schedule of feeding fuel, watching sparks and noticing movement outside. But even with fire, why would exhausted humans remain awake for hours after sunset? Modern sleep research offers an unexpected clue: temperature. Researchers studying San, Hadza, and Simanay communities found that people typically did not fall asleep when the sun crossed the horizon. Across these groups, sleep began about 3 hours after sunset, averaged roughly 6.4 hours, and commonly ended before the sun returned. Their sleep timing followed the night's falling and rising temperature more closely than darkness alone, challenging our industrial idea of natural sleep. Around a prehistoric fire, those extra waking hours could mean eating, repairing tools, tending children, treating wounds, talking, or simply listening. More importantly, different bodies become sleepy at different times. Age, health, childcare, and individual chronotype naturally scatter sleep across the group. A Hadza sleep study recorded this effect across 20 nights. Complete simultaneous sleep occurred for only 18 minutes in the entire period. During 99.8% of sampled nighttime moments, at least one person was awake or lightly sleeping without requiring a formal guard roster. Older adults often rose earlier, while younger adults stayed awake later, creating overlapping shifts produced by biology rather than military discipline. Scientists call this the sentinel hypothesis. Mixed sleep patterns may have protected vulnerable groups because someone almost always noticed trouble first. That closes our first mystery. The safest nighttime technology may not have been fire or spears, but a group that never slept uniformly. Yet vigilance explains only who stayed awake. It does not explain what people did while sparks climbed and darkness pressed around them. Stone and bone preserve meals and tools, but conversations leave no fossils. Here, careful observation of living communities supplies a cautious clue. Anthropologist Polly Wessner compared daytime and firelight conversations among Jutuansi communities, finding a striking change after practical work had ended. Daytime talk focused heavily on economic tasks, complaints, and immediate social business, the verbal machinery required to keep daily life operating. At night, conversation shifted towards stories, myths, distant people, remembered journeys, and imaginative worlds beyond the visible circle of firelight. These communities are not windows frozen in prehistory. Their behavior cannot be copied backward as proof of what ancient humans always did. But the pattern reveals what fire makes possible. Productive hours no longer dominated by work, when shared attention can build collective memory. A story about a dangerous waterhole can entertain children while preserving geography. A hunting failure can become a warning remembered for years. Stories also let absent people remain socially present, carrying reputations, obligations, ancestors, and alliances across distances nobody could travel tonight. The darkness outside the fire therefore produced something valuable inside it, an audience. But where did that audience actually lie down? For decades, the popular image showed early humans collapsing on bare cave floors. Evidence from South Africa presents a more deliberate bedroom. At Border Cave, archaeologists identified grass bedding and floor coverings dating to about 200,000 years ago, often resting above ash. The grass softened stone, but the ash underneath may have blocked crawling insects and destroyed material already carrying pests or waste. Researchers also found traces of burned camphor bush, a plant still used in that region because its aromatic smoke discourages insects. So the strange act of burning your own bed may have been housekeeping. Remove parasites, clear refuse, then rebuild with fresh plants. This was not modern comfort. Smoke stung eyes. Bedding held dirt, and sleepers remained exposed to weather, bites, sparks, and neighboring bodies. But it was environmental engineering, selecting plants, layering surfaces, controlling fire, and repeatedly maintaining a cleaner place for vulnerable bodies. Sleeping close created warmth and safety, yet also noise. Infants stirred, adults coughed, embers collapsed, and restless sleepers briefly scanned darkness. Those interruptions seem miserable by modern standards. For a small exposed group, however, fragmented sleep could accidentally strengthen collective vigilance. Now the pieces fit. The hearth organized space, bedding managed pests, staggered sleep maintained awareness, and firelight transformed waiting into culture. Ancient night was neither 8 peaceful hours nor endless terror. It was a changing sequence of work, conversation, sleep, listening, and maintenance. No single excavation proves this complete scene. It is a composite built from ash, burned bone, plant bedding, spatial patterns, and human sleep. The strongest evidence shows what existed. The behavioral studies suggest how groups can use those things, while reminding us uncertainty still matters. Fire extended the day, but it also created obligations. Gather fuel, protect embers, control smoke, and keep curious children from dangerous flames. Uneven sleep turned biological variation into coverage. A grandmother waking early and an adolescent sleeping late could overlap without planning anything. Storytelling turned spare attention into memory. Around the hearth, survival information could become emotion, identity, entertainment, and instructions worth repeating. Bedding turned a patch of ground into maintained living space, proving that comfort, hygiene, and pest control were ancient survival problems. The real answer, then, is not one activity. After dark, humans kept reorganizing danger until darkness became socially useful time. And that may be the deepest survival advantage. Not sharper teeth or better night vision, but many imperfect people protecting one another. When dawn finally arrived, the night's stories, warnings, and embers traveled forward into the next camp, the next generation, and eventually us.